everyone, and welcome back to this month's video, where today I will be giving a review and then a reflection of RWBY Volume 9 Beyond. So I was very excited to finally get some RWBY content on this channel, so thanks for sticking with me and all the Dragon Prince and everything, but we're finally back with some RWBY content at long last. So I'll be giving a review of the 4 short videos that were posted on the Rooster Teeth website. I will be giving my thoughts about the episodes towards the end of each episode, and then a final review and reflection towards the end. When I first heard about the news about RWBY Beyond Volume 9 and all of this, I was very excited. I was like, yes, we finally get content, and if anything's Nora, I will take it. Like, I am desperate for Nora content at the moment, so anything anyone has, please send my way. So thankfully Melodic Dubstep has come in clutch, so I'm doing a lot of those with the cosplay. Yes, so I was excited. I was looking forward to seeing, what would the episodes look like, what kind of stories would there be, what kind of characters we'd see. I was really hoping for some Team Coffee because I love that team. Second to Juniper and everything like that. So yeah, I was pretty stoked. And we managed to get this piece of news like before we found out Rooster Teeth was shutting down. I do have a reflection video on that. I'll share it down below. Go check out Demon Interviews. That's where I gave my thoughts and reflection about Rooster Teeth and its legacies. So, but yes, I was looking forward to it. Rooster Teeth is going to shut down. I'm like, I better make a quick video before the whole website shuts down. So that is this video, which we will now get into. Again, looking up to the side, I have notes. Okay, so we have 4 short episodes, no more like 7, 8, 10-minute episodes that started on Saturday, April 13th, 2024 until April 27th, 2024. These are episodes depicting the events that happened during RWBY Volume 9 and beyond, so a little bit after. Not quite greenlit into Volume 10. Hopefully one day we will get there, but yeah, just a little bit of what happened after Team RWBY and Jean came back to Vacchio after RWBY Volume 9. Which, speaking of which, spoilers if you're not caught up on RWBY. RWBY's volumes 1 through 9. I almost said 11. Oh my gosh, no. We're not there yet. But yeah, RWBY's Volume 9, 1 through 9. Any other RWBY nonsense. I don't know. I feel like I just have the whole RWBY wiki page just in my head because I'm on there all the time. So, yeah. So Dragon Prince hasn't really posted anything on their wiki page. Anyhow, quick disclaimer, I am not sponsored or affiliated with Rooster Teeth. I'm just a fan who loves this show very much and just wanted to give a review and reflection of the 4 episodes. So, again, spoilers ahead. If you're not caught up, go to Crunchyroll and watch it because, Rooster Teeth website's about to shut down here soon, so make sure that you go watch it on Crunchyroll and support the show so we can get Volume 10 greenlit, so I can have content for you all, content for me, content with cosplays, and just RWBY, because RWBY's awesome and amazing, and I love this show oh so much. Speaking of the show, we are now going to get into the reviews for each of the episodes, starting with the first one being Junior Detectives. And if you're a longtime RWBY fan, you'll know that in RWBY Volume 2, Sun and Neptune call themselves the Junior Detectives, and also in RWBY Chibi episodes, you'll see their antics as they're trying to pretend to be detectives, which I find hysterical. I love the antics of these two, so I was pretty excited to see what these two would come up with. So let's see. The episode starts out, it's raining, there's like some like piano music, kind of reminded me of the RWBY Chibi episode Neptune Noir feeling kind of vibe. Sun's narrating in the background, saying that Team RWBY and Jean are missing. Sun and Neptune introduce themselves as the Junior Detectives, again a callback. And then Neptune like cosplays, I don't know, better. I'm in the cosplay room, so bear with me. But Neptune dresses up and tries to sound like Ren, Crow, and Nora, respectively, while Sun interrogates them on like where's Team RWBY, like what happened, and all this stuff. So eventually, like they don't get anywhere. They come to a dead end, and Sun and Neptune are at a loss until after drinking lots of grape soda, they come up with an idea to spy on the headmasters. Fabulous idea, gentlemen. They follow Oscar slash Ozpin, and we see Oscar join Winter, Raven, and Theodore, Professor Theodore. We also see a mysterious girl in a cloak. However, it was confirmed that this is not the Summer Maiden, even though Neptune thinks it is, and Sun's like, no, that's not the Summer Maiden. So, Crow then sneaks up behind the two. He sneaks up behind Neptune and Sun, and finds out we find out that Neptune and Sun were telling Crow the whole story of what they've been up to. And Crow's just like, yeah, no, so he takes them and eats them from the building. Neptune then says that he hopes that Team RWBY and Jean have not given up. So it was a very, very quick episode, but there was a lot in there just kind of taking in. So, and the first thing that I noticed too was the animation art style was different. So it's kind of like that storybook feel that we saw in RWBY Volume 9 whenever they'd talk about, like, you know, Jean's past with the paper pleasers, with Lewis and Alex and everything. It was kind of like that feel. I really enjoyed that art and animation style. Again, RWBY Volume 9. I think also Volume 8 in there on Demon Interviews Review. So I did enjoy that art style. So, and it kind of felt like one of those video games too, where like, you know, like the player's like on the screen, then you have to decide like what to do and everything. So it's been a while since I played one of those video games, but the nostalgia was real. We also had our first look of Professor Theodore, and I was so happy because I could only picture him in my mind in the books. I don't know why I was picturing like this small, like munchkin size, like, you know, with like the slippers and everything, and then we get a mighty fine hunk, if I do say so myself. I was very, very surprised. So, and I'm happy. So I hope that soon, you know, once RWBY Volume 10 is greenlit, we get a voice actor. Folks get to hear like his story a bit more. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, too, Neptune cosplaying as Nora was LOL. LOL. The only thing I didn't like about that part was when Neptune as Nora was talking about like, oh well, they fell, and then like Nora's like image like shattered and everything like that. I was like, that better not be foreshadowing. That better have just been like, you know, Sun and Neptune's like hopes of like figuring out what's going on shatters, and not something that's going to happen to Nora later on. Even though, again, content, but at the same time, no. You can't take off time from work just to grieve. Oh gosh. That'd be something. See Team RWBY and Jean, the line about like, you know, losing hope. RWBY did eventually manage to find herself again in Volume 9. You know, she, again, if you've already seen this, you already know, like, she was like kind of giving up, like, who am I? What am I supposed to be? Am I supposed to be this person, that person? But then she finds herself. So it's kind of like, Neptune, you really don't know, but yeah, that's what was going on. Yeah, and then the mystery girl, I don't know who that could be. I'm stumped, because I thought originally, too, Summer Maiden, and the Sun's like, no, and it's like, well, maybe he's throwing us off, but really, like, I don't know who she could be. I'm trying to think, like, storybook-wise, like, in The Wizard of Oz, who she could be, and the only thing I can think of is, like, Dorothy, Toto, if you really want to get technical, but I doubt that. So, I don't know who it could be. I'm looking forward to figuring out who she is, because, yeah, mystery girl. We gotta figure it out. And then, lastly, just Neptune and Sun getting Oscar or Ozpin mixed up, just like in RWBY Justice League. They were like, oh, it's Oscar. No, it's really Ozpin in there. Well, no, it's Oscar. Like, they were all so confused, and it's like, yay. Neptune and Sun are also confused. Welcome. Okay, so that wraps up episode 1. So moving on to episode 2. Called A Knight's Journal, and this is mostly Jean focused. So we're finding out, you know, Jean was the rusted knight. He was much older. He gains his youth back. He gets like a little white in his hair, and now he's back in Vacchio with his team. So, yeah. Jean narrates about keeping a journal, about reflecting on his past life with being young, old, and young again. Jean is back in Vacchio with Ren and Nora, and while the three of them hang out in town, Jean still feels disconnected from his teammates. While Nora loves to bring up that Jean is the rusted knight from the story, the girl who fell through the world, Jean said he would rather forget about being the rusted knight. Jean decides to go talk to Oscar/Ozpin, talking about the journal, Jean feels he was out of place. That the whole world just wasn't the same. And then where he left it. So at some point, Oscar was talking to Jean. I have reason to believe that it was actually Ozpin, and then like slipped for a moment. Was like, "Oh yeah, it's me, Oscar." Like, no, buddy, you ain't slick anymore. So Oscar says to Jean, like, focus on the good times in the ever after. At first, Jean is skeptical, but he talks about a memory of how Lewis, Alex, and him would go to a event called Splatter Day, which was celebrated every day since there was no days of the week in the ever after. There would be a farmer's market who bought farmers who would grow things for them, and then they roasted these vegetables on fires. And during that time, like, Lewis would be writing, Jean was telling stories, and they were amazed about his stories, but that was just his life. It's just like, that was just the life I lived in. They thought it was fascinating, and really it just wasn't. This poor guy is just never not going to be depressed. Jean compared it to when he had his team back, Sonora, Ren, and Pyrrha. This is when Jean breaks down about how he sees campfires in Vacchio. He wonders about the stories being told around the fires, the hope that they are stoking, and what those people will say when this is all over. There's this theme of perspective throughout the whole conversation. And Jean asks Oscar if they are going to make it. Oscar looks over and says something about the campfire, like, did it matter when you were sitting around the campfire? And Jean responds with, no, it really didn't matter. Yeah, so there's this whole big thing about perspective with the second episode, like, not really reframing in a way, but just like, everybody has their own take on a situation, like, what are you going to make out of yours? So I wasn't too crazy about this episode because, folks that know, I'm a licensed graduate marriage and family therapist. I talk about mental health a lot, and I work daily with mental health and everything like that. I just felt like it's good. Journaling is good to, like, get down your thoughts, and definitely talking about it with someone is always encouraged to have that social support. But at the same time, I was just like, okay, this is different because you got an old man inside a little person's body, and these two are merging. If you saw what was that thing called? The episode, whatever that was, 11 or something. Whatever that episode was, I can't remember. No. I'm eventually going to talk about that probably once Volume 10's greenlit and everything, that I'll go back and talk about that, because I don't know if it will get animated, but we'll see. Back to this. I feel like Jean just really needs to talk about, like, what actually happened. I mean, I feel like he did, but he needs to talk it out with, like, his team. I think he talked it out with RWBY and everything, but like, he needs to sit down and, like, talk with his team. Like, guess what happened in the ever after? Like, the storybook that you know? No, it's not what happened. So, and then, before, like, coming up with, like, this alternative ending and, like, trying to put a bit of perspective to it. So yeah, and then just, like, finding, like, social support and means to be able to face trauma and any of its effects. So this poor boy is still traumatized. He's still, like, so many volumes back with, like, losing Pyrrha and a team member, and it seems like he puts it behind him, but then something else comes up, so he just needs more than journaling. Journaling's good and all, but this poor guy needs trauma narrative. Things are pretty good, though. I got a little bit creeped out, to be honest, with the Oscar Ozpin smile during the comment about, like, will we be okay? He's just sitting there, like, and normally I'm like, oh, little adorable bean. This time I was like, you know something we don't, even though it's just a flat image or whatever. I'm just like, I don't like this. I'm scared. So yeah, it makes me wonder if everyone will be okay. I don't know at this point, but I'm scared. So we also learn a little bit about Lewis and Alex, which is that they are from Vacchio, and I wonder if that's maybe why the teams in Jean made it back to Vacchio. I'm sure the blacksmith had magic to put them in Vacchio. She could have put them back in Mistral if she wanted to, but I have a feeling that maybe because they were from Vacchio, it's just easy to make a portal back to Vacchio. I don't know. I'm trying to make it connect. Not only that, Lewis and Alex lived in the days before the war, before huntsmen and huntresses, while Jean is from the future. So I guess that's probably why they were so fascinated by his stories. and everything. So they're probably like, what's a scroll? Like, you know, what do you mean like airships can fly? Like, you know, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I would still like a like print copy of The Girl Who Fell Through the World, kind of like when we had the Grimm fairy tale stories from RWBY, like how that is. Instead of just being like fed piece by piece information, just have like a not even that long of a book. Like most fairy tales are pretty short. Just have like in hand a physical copy of like The Girl Who Fell Through the World and like see it and hear it from Lewis's perspective, and then go back and watch RWBY Volume 9 and be like, no. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep saying that forever until we actually get one, because I think that would be amazing. And if I ever have like kids one day, I'm just gonna start them out with that. Like before we get into Alice in Wonderland, it's like, here you go, have this one instead. They're gonna go to school. My mom taught me this. That's not the real story. Oh gosh. I'll rethink that later on. But anyway, alright, episode 3, The Adventures of Somewhat. And to be honest, I was a bit surprised to see this title. I'm like, we're bringing back Somewhat? So I knew Somewhat would come back eventually. I'm going to get into my reasoning why here in a minute. But I was like, okay, Somewhat, Juniper. We love Juniper. We love our girl Juniper. So, yeah. Alright, so we are now back in the Ever After. This is after Team RWBY and Jean left. And Ruby Rose is actually narrating this part of the story. We see Somewhat and Juniper ready to go on their next big adventure, which was given by the blacksmith. We find out that things are different in the Ever After, and Somewhat has the task to do what the heart desires and to do what feels right. Somewhat goes back to the genial gems, which used to be the paper pleasers, who are focused on their task. Let's see, we see the purple genial gem who is resting and says that they don't need help, that they are content with their work and that they'll keep doing what they're doing, so Somewhat and Juniper leave the area. They then go back to the garden acre, and I realized too, like, you know, they're all rebuilding and everything, and I think Somewhat lost the memory about the Jabberwocker attack. The villagers come together and become stronger and are able to help rebuild the market. Somewhat and Juniper then go to the herbalist home. The herbalist gives some leaves because there's an after and a need, and the herbalist also tells Somewhat to do what is right. Somewhat and Juniper go to the Red Prince's castle, who thinks there is something wrong. Somewhat is guided by the thought that an after is in need and not by heart. He meets the Red Prince. The Red Prince sits at a board game, and when Somewhat asks where everyone is, the Red Prince explains he sent the guards away. The two feel like there is something familiar about one another, but the Red Prince invites Somewhat to a game, which Somewhat tries to refuse. Yet the Red Prince explains that he would help Somewhat if they win the game. The Red Prince's purpose is to win the game, but Somewhat asks what happens if they win the game, which the Red Prince says such is the way of life. They talk about the Afterins, and Somewhat says, what if the Red Prince teaches the Afterins to win? And in that moment, Somewhat wins the game, they think. Red Prince speaks up saying thank you, and Somewhat feels their mission is done. They leave the castle and go to the Dark Purple Lands, which house the Jabberwockers. They are then met by a portal door similar to the ones in Volume 8, at least for me it did, and Somewhat exclaims, "You're back." And that's where the episode ends. And that's where the million of questions came in now. Just, oh gosh. So, I did count the amount of Somewhats, not including Somewhat's name, but the somewhat of a surprise, somewhat of this. There was at least 8 of them. Maybe I could be wrong, but there was at least 8 just very calculated places of Somewhats. That wasn't the name, so I went back and rewatched it just for that. I think the genial gem, the purple one that was talking to Somewhat, was the one that like told the story about like Jean and the night and everything like that. So I think that was him. And also too, talking about rest is important. Even though busy, genial gems knew when to slow down and take a break. So taking breaks is important. Slowing down, relaxing. And then in the Garden Acre Village, we see like a sense of community coming back after an event that happened that took place that was stressful. And we even saw the Hawker again. The Hawker was okay. Yay! Good boy. Or I think boy. Good Hawker. Yeah. Also seeing Juniper sitting on the lily pad, like crossing over, was so adorable. So cute. I still want a Juniper plushie to this day. I'm sad the shop is now closed, but one day, maybe I'll figure out how to crochet. We'll see. Yes, and then I forgot how much Rooster Teeth loves cliffhangers. And when someone at the end is just like, "You're back," and then it's like, fade black, roll credits. It's like, who's back? Who or what is back? Like, is it Jean? Is it a whole new character? Is it the gods? I don't know if it'd be the gods, because somewhat wouldn't know who that was because the story took place after they left. So it has to be a somewhat knows. I don't think it's Neo. I don't know. I was like trying to figure out who was. But yeah, I was a little bit ticked off because I'm like, we really have to wait to figure out who came through the door. So speaking of, I said in the RWBY Volume 9 review over on Demon Interviews of somewhat reminding me of RWBY from the Chronicles of Narnia. In the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, RWBY goes and sails over to like the other land, like over the water to get to the other land. And we don't see RWBY again until the very last book, The Last Battle, and we don't really hear like what happened in between that time. So that's why when it said like the Avengers is somewhat, I know somewhat's not based off of RWBY, I just kind of had that notion in my head that was what it reminded me of. So when I saw that, I was like, well, we didn't know what happened with RWBY. We don't know what adventures he had in the story, but we're gonna find out what happened with somewhat. So I'm hoping that it'll connect, like somewhat finding out who this person is towards the end. But I had really like thought in the back of my mind like we'll probably see somewhat either in the last volume or close to the last, whenever RWBY ends. I don't want to think about that right now, but yeah. So yeah, I'm just hoping that that whole ties into like a bigger role at the end. So, but I really, really, really want to know who somewhat saw. Okay, episode 4, Boba. So this is the last episode of the RWBY Volume 9 Beyond series, and this one is focused on Yang and RWBY. So we open up on a sunny day in Vacchio, and RWBY and Yang are walking along the streets hanging out. Yang is taking RWBY someplace, it's a surprise, where RWBY says she will be moderate for a surprise that may or may not be cool. You can kind of get like the typical sibling banter, but Yang says that it's been a while since like there was a sister thing. But then RWBY gets stopped by a bunch of folks who recognized her from the message, from probably even the painting on the wall and everything, and they want to get a picture with her. When RWBY comes back, her and Yang start walking again. RWBY says she's still not used to it, and Yang brings up the normal knees. I love normal knees. But thinks of how like cool her sister is. Before Yang can talk about the serious conditions of Vacchio, RWBY excitedly spots a boba tea shop called Bubba Bubba Boba and goes over the different types of teas and boba, which honestly, I love boba tea so much. I've actually been craving boba like since that episode, and I just found out the place that used to deliver us boba like stopped because apparently it's too far now. I'm like, you're gonna leave your girl hanging. I'll eventually get some. I think we have some pearls up in the cupboard, so I'm gonna try to make a strawberry milk tea. The two get boba. Yang gets like a pink looking one, and I think RWBY got like a taro because it's purple, and I think I've gotten that once. It's very sweet. And they reminisce about how there was like a shop in Patch where they used to live, and how their father would take them after school for a treat. Yang wonders why their father isn't there and that he's on assignment. Yang brings up the ever after, which Yang says she understands that RWBY was going through a lot and did not want to talk about what she was going through. So Yang brings up the ever after, and she's just like, hey, you went through a lot, but I want to tell you now, like, you're not alone. Like, you have your team, we've got your back, we're here to support you and everything. And that way, too, RWBY doesn't have to shoulder everything. And she also brings up that they won't go back to that version of Team RWBY as well, and that they'll still be there to support one another. RWBY thanks Yang for understanding, and the two hug. RWBY says she is still trying to figure out how to be a leader. Yang chuckles and suggests setting a code word. When one feels overwhelmed and doesn't know how to ask, you just say the code word. RWBY says that the code word should be boba, and Yang agrees, saying boba. The two enjoy their drinks, and RWBY asks about shopping, but Yang giggles and says, "Is that what you're worried about right now?" And then it ends, and then I cry because, like, that's gonna be it for a while. So yeah, it was a very beautiful episode. So, which is funny because this episode was supposed to come out on May 4th, but it actually came out the same day as The Adventure of Somewhat. So there's like 2 episodes at the same time. I really wish it would have come out May 4th, even though I'm filming this on May 5th. They get posted later on this week because relevance. But yeah, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Wear green, support. I'm doing mental wellness challenges right now. So yeah, I feel like this episode would have been really good for like mental health awareness because, you know, like that not being a lone piece, like needing social support from either family members, friends, loved ones, that kind of thing. Like that is very, very is very important for mental health, to like have somebody that you can talk with about like how you're feeling. Even if you don't want to talk about it, then at least have like somebody sit there and just kind of be there, which I think they did address in a Chibi episode with Velvet and Coco and everything. Coco's trying to figure out how to cheer Velvet up. Velvet says she just wants somebody to hang out and be by her side, and Coco's like, "That's what I'll do." So I love them so much. Yeah, so this theme of like, you know, you're not alone, you have folks to be there for you. I kind of wish Blake and Weiss were there now that I think about it, because like Weiss is RWBY's teammate, so having heard that from Weiss as well would have been good, and just having Blake there as support too. But maybe Yang just needed to get off her chest first. I'm sure all 3 of them were in agreement, but we won't see those behind the scenes. So in like therapy, there's this term called second order change, and what it is like, this is like change that you desire for, you try to go for. Like you can't go back to how things were, that you adapt to the changes of something new. So yeah, this whole idea of like, you know, we're not going to go back to this previous version of RWBY, like we've all been through a lot, so now we're going to adapt and change into this version of Team RWBY. So that's what I got out of it. Maybe I'm overanalyzing a little bit too much, but yeah. And using code words to help say when someone needs help or take a break in the conversation. I do use those a lot with like couples and families and everything, so it's like using a code word to like take a time out essentially and then come back to the conversation. So I'm curious to see if they'll use that in later seasons. So I really like the little chibi versions, like, you know, like RWBY and stuff. Remind me of like RWBY Volume 1, like those first couple episodes where she was like geeking out over the weapons and turning to like the adorable little chibi. It was really cute to see, so I like that very much. And at first when RWBY was approached by the like people and stuff, I thought the male character was Neith Oom, but then when I looked at the credits, it was actually Eddie Rivas, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, like, yay, we got Eddie voicing characters and stuff. So sorry I confused you for Neith, but it sounded a bit similar, so I was like, oh, he's voicing a new character, and I was like, no, that was Eddie, like, so much fun. And then I was thinking about this too, with like RWBY Volume 1, like during the fight scene with the Nevermore, well, like before all of that, whenever like RWBY like goes and she's like standing on like the rock and everything, and everybody's like going to go fight the Nevermore, and Yang's kind of hanging back, like looking at her with like that sense of sister pride. Trust me, I know what that looks like, because I am older sister, so I know what that looks like. And like Blake questions like Yang, like, you know, what are you looking at and stuff. And I think, you know, Yang knew how special RWBY was, not like the special, no mommy way like Crow was explaining, but like just how much influence like RWBY was going to have over others to help protect people and to do the right thing, yeah, and stuff like that. So I think she still has that sense of sister pride, and I think she just wants to look after RWBY and take care of her because, you know, her and RWBY were so close growing up, so I think she just wants to continue that. So but it's good they talked it out. It's about time. That day. See, and on the second rewatch, so whenever I was going back and like get my notes in order and everything, towards the end, when they talked about shopping, I was like, is this the missing shopping montage? Are we getting new outfits? Like, I don't need any more clothes or cosplays, but if we're talking upgrades and stuff and like new outfits for like Nora, hands down, I'm excited then. Yeah, I don't think that is, I'm not confirming or denying that, but like the second rewatch, I'm like, she's talking about shopping. And there was like that whole debacle, whatever thing that happened with like, you know, Atlas and everything. Like, oh, we need a shopping montage, and then we didn't get it and people were mad and stuff. Now I'm like, are they going shopping? Are we getting new outfits? Like, Volume 10, they get new outfits? I would scream. Y'all are gonna hear me scream if we see Nora in a new outfit. Like, I'm still hurt that Nora was not in RWBY Justice League Part 2. I'm still hurt by that. Because I just want to see Nora all grown up and finding herself. But anyway, I know this is not about Nora, but yeah, I'm just like, I want it so much. So, yeah, maybe new outfits, maybe not, but it would be nice to see. It would be cool. Desert outfits. So, excitement. Final thoughts about RWBY Volume 9 Beyond. I definitely love some of the mental health aspects, especially more messages in episode 4 than 2. Episode 2 kind of confused me. I'm just like journaling's great. I'm not gonna lie, talking to friends is also good, but like trying to just put a whole spin on it instead of like sitting down, talking about it, the who, the what, the when, the where, you know, how you were feeling in that moment and everything, like you're just gonna brush by it? No. But like sitting down and talking with someone and being like, this is what I experienced. I can't imagine what you were going through. Like, how do we work together so this doesn't happen again? That's what we like to see. I like that much better, yes. Overall, I enjoyed the small series. Like, I was hyped for it. I was ready. Even though sometimes I would be out like running errands because they would come out on Saturday mornings and be like, oh, I'm running errands right now. I can't watch. But then I'd come home and watch it. And I think the last day when the 2 episodes come out, I was at convention when they came out, so like trying to avoid spoilers online because I just wanted to go in and like watch it for myself, like no spoilers. It was like so difficult. But yes, and it gave me something to look forward to each weekend, just to like get to the week. So I'm not depressed or anything. I'm just saying like it's nice whenever RWBY does come out because I'm just looking forward to Saturdays. I'm just trying to get through the week to get to Saturday to watch my show at like 10:30, 11 a.m. Hopefully if I'm still not running errands and all that. But I'm just like ready to watch. And it was just nice having that feeling again. Even if it was for 3 weeks. It was just nice to have that again. Like I said before, I love the art style. I thought it was very beautiful, very well done. The music was good. There was even like little like callbacks with the music and stuff, so it's always interesting to see. I'm not sure when RWBY Volume 10 is going to be greenlit. I am hoping and praying every single day we hear some piece of news, and when we do hear news, I'm only trusting from the source. I'm only trusting from the writers. I'm only trusting from like official people that work on the project. So like, you know, Eddie, Carrie, any of those folks, unless it comes out from a credible person, then we're still waiting. Welcome to the hiatus. I will wait for RWBY to make that announcement and say, we're doing it. So, yeah. And then I'm not going to shut up. Never, ever, ever. So, I also want to make mention too, for those that don't know, I do writing, I do fan fiction, RWBY OCs, and one of those is Jasper Polendina. You can check out her story, Archive of Her Own, and Wattpad. Links down in my link tree down below. There will be like a mini chapter. It's gonna be like 8.5, like in between like the Ever After and whatever happens in Vacuo. But there's going to be like a little short story featured around the boba, so be sure to check out for that story here soon. I gotta figure out how to make strawberry milk tea. I was looking at videos the other day. It doesn't look too hard, but if anybody knows where to buy strawberry milk, because I looked at like 2 different grocery stores and they don't sell it, let your girl know in the comments down below, please. I'm so lost. And that's basically it. So thanks for listening to me So thank you for listening to me just blab about the series and like other matters and all that stuff. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there because like I said before, I enjoyed it. You know, I feel like we could definitely use some more positivity in the RWBY community. I try to provide that. I know sometimes I come in with like my little critiques and be like, yeah, this and that, but I do try to stay positive. You can also find more like RWBY reviews over on Demon Interviews. I'll have his channel in the description down below, where I do like media reviews with the host Springy. So make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to get into 500. Not only that, but be sure to like, leave a kind comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. Hopefully I'll have RWBY content out here soon. We shall see. So after you do all of that, make sure that you also leave in your comment what was one of your favorite episodes, what was one of your favorite moments from RWBY Volume 9 Beyond, what are you looking forward to seeing next in this series. I'm hoping that Nora finds herself and that her and Ren will eventually get married and have 2 children. Anyway, but yeah, go check out the fan fiction. Alright, just want to say thank you all so much for watching. Hope everyone's taking care and staying safe. And as always, peace, love, and kindness. Bye everyone!